Hello, I'm Shelley Rydell from Resources for Learning, and welcome to Webinar 4. In Webinar 4, we will discuss expectations for the quality indicators due on October 28, 2019. As a quick reminder, the handout displayed here can be found under the Monitoring tab on the mytexasace.org webpage. You will find it under the Resources and Support section, and the title of the document is Texas ACE Program Monitoring Fall and Spring Rolling Deadlines. The quality indicators due on October 28th are highlighted in an orange box. This document shows all of the rolling deadlines and the dates webinars covering each group of quality indicators will be posted to mytexasace.org. The compliance components we will discuss today, intentional activities, and school engagement, fall under the umbrella categories Vision, Mission, and Goals, and School Community Engagement. The handout shown here can also be found on the monitoring page under Resources and Supports on mytexasace.org. It gives an overview of all of the compliance components and the associated quality indicators. Compliance Component 3, Intentional Activities, is associated with two quality indicators. Quality Indicator 4, Lesson Plan Alignment, and Quality Indicator 5, Lesson Development Process and Quality Assurance. Compliance Component 6, School Engagement, is also associated with two quality indicators: administrative support, and interaction between center staff and school day staff. Let's start with Compliance Component 3, Intentional Activities. Most of the other compliance components set the stage for intentional activities, the compliance component that most directly impacts student learning. The Intentional Activities section provides an opportunity to showcase the careful planning and preparation that sets the stage for student learning. The blueprint for Quality Indicator 4, Lesson Plan Alignment, is shown on this slide. Let me walk you through the scale shown and we can take a close look at each description. Intentional activities is unique in that there are a number of required elements listed for the compliance submission. To be in compliance, the center must provide a lesson plan that clearly states the lesson's target audience, goals and objectives, the TEKS addressed, resources used, activities students engage in, and the associated assessments. Let's consider each of those elements one by one. As you look over your lessons to select a best example to submit, first make sure that the lesson you choose clearly states the target audience by describing the age group or grade level the lesson is intended to serve. The lesson must also state the lesson learning goals or objectives. Lesson goals or objectives answer the question, what is it that students should be able to do at the end of the lesson? A learning objective makes clear the intended outcome, rather than describing what form instruction will take. Take a close look at the lesson goals or objectives. Do goals and objectives focus on student performance? Is there a specific action verb like list, describe, report, compare, or demonstrate that makes clear the behaviors students will be expected to perform by the end of the lesson? Well-written goals or objectives give students precise statements of what is expected of them and also provide guidance for assessing student progress. For example, a lesson objective may sound something like, by the end of the lesson, students will be able to summarize the main events of a story using complete sentences and correct punctuation. Next, check to ensure the lesson lists the appropriate Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills addressed by the lesson. Also make sure the lesson clearly describes the activities students will engage in. Ask yourself, will a reader who is unfamiliar with a lesson understand what takes place during the lesson? And finally, is there a description of how instructors will assess student learning? What will instructors look at to see evidence of student success? Once in compliance, we can now take a look at the quality and alignment of the lesson plan as we move across the Blueprint 2.0. For 2, in development, lesson plan activities must connect to the stated goals or objectives. For example, if the lesson objective relates to summarizing the main events of a story using complete sentences and correct punctuation, do the lesson activities help students work on these specific skills? We will look for alignment in the lesson. Are the activities described aligned to the goals and objectives of the lesson? Moving to 3, implementing. Does the lesson address diverse student needs? Are there suggestions or alternative activities to address the needs of English language learners, students with IEPs or 504 classifications, or maybe for gifted and talented students? Moving to 4, progressing. We are looking for evidence that the lesson plan utilizes learner-centered instructional strategies. Examples of learner-centered instructional strategies include interactive instruction, cooperative grouping, inquiry-based learning, project-based learning. Learner-centered instructional strategies encourage students to take ownership of their learning, and activities allow learners to actively construct their own knowledge. And 5, optimizing. We will look for evidence that the lesson assessment measures the extent to which goals or objectives were met. Plan to upload an artifact that shows what a student or group of students learned as a result of the lesson, and be sure that the learning demonstrated directly connects to lesson goals and objectives. If you choose to upload student work samples, be sure to redact student names or any other identifying information. Please be sure to refer to the guidebook as you gather evidence and prepare your responses for submission. It is full of helpful hints, suggestions, and questions to prompt your thinking. Pages 14 through 18 of the guidebook cover Quality Indicator 4, Lesson Plan Alignment. Continuing with Compliance Component 3, Intentional Activities, let's now take a look at Quality Indicator 5, Lesson Development Process and Quality Assurance. For this quality indicator, consider how lessons are developed and how the site coordinator ensures high-quality lesson planning and lesson delivery. As described previously, to be in compliance for intentional activities, the center must provide evidence of a lesson plan that includes target audience, goals, objectives, critiques addressed, resources used, activities, and the associated assessments. Once in compliance, the center can progress to 2 in development. For in development, be prepared to describe the process the center uses to ensure that lesson plans connect to what students learn during the regular school day. First, consider ways you gather information about students' school day learning. Have instructors communicated via email with the school day staff about student goals and needs? Have instructors reviewed the school day scope and sequence or lesson plans? Do instructors review student performance data on benchmark or other formative assessments? Be prepared to describe how you ensure that lesson plans connect to what students learn during the regular school day. Moving to 3, implementing. Be prepared to describe how the site coordinator provides oversight of the lesson planning process. Consider questions like, do instructors submit lesson plans for your review on a regular basis? Do you have an approval process? How do you provide feedback on lesson plans? In what way do you supervise lesson planning? Moving to 4, progressing. We shift our focus here from the lesson planning process to instructional delivery. To be progressing, you must upload an observation tool used to assess the quality of lesson plan delivery and describe how you use that tool to provide feedback to instructors. Your upload can be a blank copy of your observation tool, or if you choose to submit an actual record of an observation, be sure to redact staff names or any other identifying information. And 5, optimizing. Consider whether the site coordinator discusses observations with instructors to improve future instruction. You will be asked to provide evidence by describing a time when the site coordinator discussed the quality of lesson plan delivery with an instructor, and that discussion resulted in improved instruction. As you search for an example, think about any changes instructors have made as a result of receiving your feedback after an observation. Again, please be sure to refer to the guidebook as you gather evidence and prepare your responses for this submission. Pages 18 through 21 of the guidebook cover Quality Indicator 5, Lesson Development Process and Quality Assurance. Now on to Compliance Component 6, School Engagement. Quality Indicator 11, Administrative Support. When visiting programs and speaking with program staff, we hear over and over again how critical it is to have administrative support for high-quality programming. This quality indicator takes a close look at the level of administrative support you have for your program. To be in compliance, the center must have a primary contact at the school being served. Be prepared to list the center's primary contact and his or her role at the school. Who do you contact to discuss the goals and needs of your program? Is it the principal or maybe the assistant principal? Once in compliance, The center moves to 2, in development. Has the center provided information about the Texas ACE program to the school administration? Be prepared to upload one example of information about the Texas ACE program that the center staff has provided to the school administration. Examples may include an email to an administrator, a meeting agenda or meeting minutes, a brochure or newsletter provided to an administrator. This may have been a one-way interaction, meaning you simply provided information to the administrator. When we move to 3, implementing, we are now looking for the administrator to take action. To be implementing, you must upload evidence that a school administrator has actively sought to deepen their understanding of the Texas ACE program. Evidence may be documentation of an administrator attending program sessions, and this could come in the form of attendance sheets, confirmation notices, meeting minutes. It could also be documentation of feedback from administrators on program planning, or records of school administrator interactions or behaviors that demonstrate knowledge of the program. For implementing, the administrator must take action to deepen their knowledge of the Texas ACE program. Taking expectations a step further, for 4, progressing, school administrators take action to ensure the Texas ACE program is successful. You will be asked to upload your best example of how school administrators have taken action to ensure the Texas ACE program is successful. And this evidence may include a picture of an administrator speaking at a recruiting event, an email from administrators inviting center staff to school events, or it might be a picture of administrators being highly visible during Texas ACE programming. In regards to implementing and progressing for this quality indicator, we have been asked whether the same piece of evidence can be used to show both an administrator taking action to deepen their knowledge of the Texas ACE program and an administrator taking action to ensure the Texas ACE program is successful. If you feel confident that the same piece of evidence specifically addresses more than one of the upload requests, you may submit the same piece of evidence more than once. Your response to the following explain your evidence request should explain the specific aspect of the evidence that addresses or targets each question. And 5, optimizing. Consider whether center staff and the school administration collaborate to fully integrate the Texas ACE program into the school for the benefit of student learning. If this is the case, be prepared to upload one artifact that illustrates this collaboration and the full integration of the Texas ACE program into the school for the benefit of student learning. Pages 38 through 42 of the guidebook cover Quality Indicator 11, Administrative Support. Let's continue with Compliance Component 6, School Engagement, now looking at Quality Indicator 12, Interaction between center staff and school day staff. Once in compliance, you can move directly to 2, in development. Do center staff and school day staff regularly communicate? Be prepared to upload your best example of communication between center staff and school day staff. Do center staff and school day staff regularly communicate via email or in person? Even if school day staff serve as ACE instructors, there should still be an established process for staff to communicate with all of the ACE instructors students interact with during after-school programming. If school day staff serve as ACE instructors, is there a quick team huddle prior to programming to touch base and communicate? Are there shared documents that everyone has access to? Moving to 3, implementing. Consider whether the center has a system for accessing information about student school day experiences. Are there systems in place to help center staff access information related to student performance, attitudes, and behaviors from their school day? Do center staff have a way to check in with school day staff and ask questions like, how did her day go? Be prepared to describe the center system for accessing information about student school day experiences. For 4, progressing, the center has a system for sharing students' after-school summer experiences with school staff. This shifts the focus to the center sharing information with school staff. Be prepared to describe the center system for sharing student information with school day staff. For 5, optimizing, the center will need to upload evidence that there is an ongoing reciprocal relationship between center staff and school day staff to communicate about learner needs. Evidence of this may be documentation that center staff attends school day staff meetings, or records showing center staff attending professional development with school day staff. Pages 43 through 45 of the guidebook cover Quality Indicator 12, Interaction between center staff and school day staff. Another resource posted to mytexasace.org is a list of submission requests for fall and spring compliance components. The compliance components discussed in Webinar 4 are highlighted in orange boxes. The first submission request listed is the compliance component request. So, for intentional activities, the first submission request is for a lesson plan with all required components. Additional submissions are requested as you move along the continuum on each Blueprint 2.0. This webinar is part of a series of webinars designed to help project directors and site coordinators prepare for the new monitoring system. The purpose of today's webinar is to walk through the set of quality indicators due on October 28, 2019. Again, this handout can be found under the Monitoring tab on the mytexasace.org website, along with a variety of other helpful resources. If you have any questions or need more information, please feel free to contact us at the email addresses shown on the slide. We look forward to working with you towards quality improvement in Texas ACE. Thanks.